Louisville is going to SMU, to Dallas. I mean, SMU still has everything on the line. They had a brutal loss, of course, to Wake Forest just a couple weeks back. Wake Forest is sitting at 7-3 right now with some pretty solid wins, and they've just mucked it up against just about everyone. So I don't blame SMU for having a tough game against Wake Forest. Louisville also has had some tough games. They're coming off some stinkers as well these last couple weeks. They of course had the climax win against Miami. They're in the college football playoff conversation, the ACC championship conversation. Stuff starts to derail a little bit. SMU, man, still has a lot to play for, man. Like the ACC's, it's wide open. It is wide open right now. These tiebreakers get a little bit crazy. SMU's definitely in at 7-1 regardless. But no, actually, sorry, not regardless. SMU's in at 7-1 if Pitt beats Georgia Tech and then loses to Miami. If Georgia Tech wins and beats Pitt, then SMU pretty much needs Virginia Tech to beat Virginia. Otherwise, the tiebreakers come down to opponent win percentages, and those can kind of fluctuate these last 2 weeks, but Virginia's kind of has the lead right now, and you can kind of project they might retain that based on some look ahead in those games. So SMU win this game, and then definitely your big Pitt fans this week. But saying all of that just tells you like that they are still in this thing. And Rhett Lashley's great. I mean, this coaching matchup, CD, this coaching matchup offensively is just incredible. Rhett Lashley squaring off with Jeff Brom. I mean, how are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, gonna be fun to see. Obviously exciting for the conference of the ACC to have a couple of their coaches, on front display here this week. Listen, man, his gut check time, I think, for Louisville. I mean, their statistical profile offensively is not one that you are typically seeing with a Jeff Brom team, right? I know Miller Moss has been inconsistent up and down. I understand that. You've had injuries in the backfield, though. No Isaac Brown has been tough, right? Keyshawn Brown has been fantastic, though, for you in the weeks leading up to this game here. So that is obviously a big shot here. You got to take care of the football. You cannot take too many sacks. I'm talking to you, Miller Moss. Let Chris Bell, Colin Lacey, Jaleel Skinner, some of your guys get after him this week. This SMU secondary, which I think is vulnerable. We've seen them give up explosive plays in the past before. They buckled down. They did some nice things against Miami at home. I understand that. I don't know why. This just feels like a Louisville bounce back. You had all that stuff in the postseason, in the press conference. You had the Jeff Brom rumors. Obviously, kind of calm that down. Even though SMU, you talked about them a little bit off air, being a little bit more desperate, a little bit right there, chomping at the bit, potentially eyes big, going back to the ACC title game for 2 straight years, by the way. What an accomplishment that would be for SMU and Rhett Lashley. But I think Louisville gets him here on the road. They go into Dallas and they get it done. 2.5 is the line SMU's favored at. I'll take Louisville plus 2.5, and I'll take them to win as well.
If you were to tell me, like, hey, Matthew, in a vacuum, all right, this Louisville team is better than SMU, I will absolutely agree with you. I think the talent on this Louisville team is pretty superb. I do think that there's actually a coaching advantage, despite how great I think Rhett Lashley is. I think Jeff Brom at his best, there are not a lot of coaches better than Jeff Brom at his best, okay? But this is not a vacuum that we're playing in here. Like you mentioned, SMU backs against the wall. They still have talent. They have been incredibly opportunistic as a defense. All right, Louisville, they can turn the ball over. All right, they're absolutely prone to turning the football over. On the road here, I think SMU. SMU will be at home, but going on the road to SMU, I think that makes a big difference. I think the desperation from SMU and the urgency makes a big difference here. I think you could absolutely see one of those Jeff Brown master classes from Louisville and Miller Moss playing a great game, throwing for 300 plus yards. And if he takes care of the football, I think they got a really good chance. And I happen to think that Kewan Brown is a phenomenal football player. I really don't think that I mean, Isaac Brown is a phenomenal football player as well, but this is one of those ones where it's like I think you have a really good backfield and a strong rushing attack, regardless of who's back there for you. So I think having Isaac Brown obviously is a plus, but I don't necessarily think that that's a deal breaker for them. So I could absolutely see Louisville win this game. This was a really tough one for me to pick here, but I am gonna go with SMU. I just think that they find a way to get it done. Both of these quarterbacks have kind of been there before, like been in the moment, like in very key spots against very good teams late in the season with a lot of opportunities for their teams to uh, make great pushes for greater postseason aspirations. So I don't doubt either of these quarterbacks' ability to come and step up here in the moment. I do think Kevin Jennings has a little bit more of that it factor to them, despite I'm not even going to call it a downtick of a year. I'm just I don't think people are paying attention to it as much because SMU isn't winning as much as they were last year. But I still think Kevin Jennings is playing pretty decent football, and I think he finds a way to get it done here.
He has been banged up too, and while he put up 300 yards against Boston College, it's Boston College, right? And two, it was an inefficient 300 yards, 50% completion percentage, 16 of 32. I do wonder
That's
if
who he is, though.
I know. I do wonder if he was a little bit banged up. I know, he got banged up in the Miami game. He was probable, questionable all week. So, we'll see. And this Louisville defense, passing wise, is the best defense statistically in the ACC. They got a couple pass rushers there, some good defensive backs there as well. Very opportunistic defense that Louisville brings to the table that, could give Kevin Jennings problems. And we have seen him be prone to turnovers in bunches, right? And
In
that
big games.
in big games, and so that could be something to keep your eye on. Now it's at home, which is huge for SMU. This is just gut here. Gut here going with the Cardinals.
Yeah, it's interesting because you have two super opportunistic defenses. It's like I feel like Louisville's defense in a vacuum is just good. I think SMU's defense has been patched by some big plays and some big moments. So will SMU's defense get those? That's a really good question. Uh, I don't I don't disagree with you taking Louisville CD. I'm just going to roll. I don't disagree with anyone who thinks Louisville is going to win this game because I think this is a toss up. And I have had a tough time picking this, but I'm just gonna I'm just gonna it's an emotional game. This is college football. It is the greatest sport on the earth. And I think you just have to factor in a little bit more, I think, into games like this one.